Hello, and welcome to episode 79 of the Dash Force Free Amigos podcast. I'm Mark Mason, and I'm joined by my two fellow amigos, Joel Valenzuela. How's it going?
Cheers. Coffee.
He's ready, he's caffeinated, he's all good to go. And taking Brian's place this week, aka Mastermind, is Justin. How's it going, Justin?
Pretty good. I had my coffee like half an hour ago.
Excellent.
You got to open with "Can y'all hear me?"
Can everyone hear me?
Yeah, we sure
Close
can.
enough. Close enough. I guess that's the Philly version.
And we have a guest for this podcast, which is Kodaxx. So you may know Kodaxx for the community who runs the Spark POS solution, but he doesn't go by Kodaxx during the day. His real name is Spencer. So Spencer, welcome to the podcast.
Thanks for having me, guys. You guys don't even know what it's like. Right now, this is like ESPN. I got Stephen A. Smith. I got Shannon Sharp. What are you guys doing? I'm here. I made it. Hello, Mom.
Yeah, there we go. I don't think even my mother watches this, but
Excellent. So tell me about Spark. So like what's going on? Because I'm seeing lots of Spark's being picked up all over the place. You're in Colombia now as well, right? You got merchants been using Spark POS solution there and Venezuela as well. What's the latest?
Yep. So, there's guys on the Dash Talk Discord that work pretty hard, not for me, but in my benefit, I guess. Like George Donnelly and those guys, they really
he's
are
a real
pushing.
hustler.
He is, man, and he's really pushing Spark to his merchants, which is cool. And I like, he's able to give me all kinds of feedback and whatnot to give me things to improve on. And so I really appreciate that. As far as new things go, my last Dash Boost proposal was like, I think 2 months ago. I got password protected settings page, QR code scanning, coin text integration, wrote an entire API for Dash rates so that the iOS, Android wallet, Spark, and everybody can all be on the same rates, because I know that's a complaint that people have. And since I was writing it for myself to match their rates, I figured we could all just hop on board. And so it's kind of turned into a project of its own, but that's what the last Dash Boost proposal has allowed me to do.
But this is something that not everyone in the community might know about. Because they just heard, Spark came out of something. Oh, Spark popped in. The origin story, just like everyone needs like a Batman Begins kind of thing or something like that. Everyone needs some kind of cool origin story. Who shot your billionaire dad or whatever. Well, let me give I'll put it in live chat. Here's an article from dashforcenews.com, your number one source of Dash news anywhere in the bloody world. That's from May of 2017. That's like a year and a half ago by now.
Oh, yeah.
About Dash Pay point of sale update. And it talks about, I'm pretty sure there might have been earlier articles. I'll have to look into that. But basically, there's been a point of sale system, and it looks kind of like Spark a little bit, but that's been in development for a very long time. You had a proposal in, didn't you, before? Way back in the day?
That's right. So basically a really long time ago, several years ago, when I started programming, I had quit drinking and needed a hobby, and I decided.
I love the honesty. I mean, I haven't been drinking much lately just because, I'm trying to lose some weight, and it's just like, what do I do with my days? Oh, right. Work on Dash stuff. Yep.
That's exactly, kind of where I fell. And so I kind of was like, what do I do with my hands? And so when I decided to, actually, I was already into cryptocurrency and stuff, but then I started like coming up with ideas and trying to like, I was talking to other developers and like, hey, you guys should build this. And I got the typical developer response, which is, yeah, well, you're totally free to build that. I'm busy. And I'm like, yeah, I get that, So eventually I just got really tired of trying to get other people to build stuff. So I decided to learn myself. And then, kind of learned the basics and started building a few things. And then I jumped into this I was in the Dash Nation disc or Slack way back, back in the day. And I kind of started building this just like a skeleton. It wasn't really functional, just to kind of show like a proof of concept or whatever. Like I was going to be like, here, somebody build this. And then as I continued to build, then I made it like functionally generate addresses. And then I was able to do like more and more things, and it turned into like a real thing. And so I was definitely like out of my league to build it. So I started asking around if anybody wanted to help. A user at that time had responded to me in private message and said that they would help. They would build the back end. I could build the front end. And that was kind of like the component that I was really missing to get it done. So we put in a proposal and went to build this thing. And I don't know, back then it was called Dash Pay. Joel, you got to play with that beta right before.
Yeah.
Back then. Yeah.
In fact, I still have almost 700 testnet Dash floating around in some wallet somewhere. And then that's the only reason I ever did that, is to try to experiment with that app.
Yeah. Yeah. And so we were pretty close to actually getting it released. At some point, we had taken a proposal on with PivX as well. And I think they paid us like almost $30,000 worth in USD, or maybe it was like 20, 25-ish. But the funny thing about it was because I was generally like a pretty new programmer. The other guy was doing a lot of the work and things that I was supposed to be doing, but I just hadn't learned yet. And so I told him, I'm learning this stuff still. Give me just a minute to figure it out. He obviously didn't want to wait. So the deal was that he would do that part of it. And then when I learned that stuff, I could take over that part of the project. And as a gesture of good faith, he got to hold on to the funds. And,
Oh, goodness.
Yep. And so one day he disappeared, and, I was totally unfamiliar with his code base, and there was a bunch of like unexplained changes right before all this happened. And so, of course, I still felt liable and responsible to Dash Network. I try to be honest and have some integrity to what I do. And so I decided to rebuild everything from scratch. And it took me a while. I mean, how long was I gone? I mean, I wasn't gone. I was there, but
Kind of a year, a little bit close to a year. It's 9 months.
Yeah, I wasn't very active for about a year, but I was learning the whole time. And so by the time I learned what I needed to learn, I came back. We finished the project, got that released. People liked it, and so I just continued to add features to it. And after a while, the wish list versus the time started to outweigh the other. And so I put in a Dash Boost proposal and added several features to it, and here we are today, just trying to keep it going.
Wow! So you got boosted. What all? So first off, is it fair to say you basically learned a big bulk of your coding just to figure out how to do this project?
100%. Yeah. No, I learned a lot of coding just to do this project.
Wow. Justin, do you know how to code?
Only somewhat.
All right. Well, if you have a project, yeah. What about you, Mark?
A little bit CSS, but I mean I'm more website based. But
your face looks weird now.
Yeah. Can you see I'm just checking out the website for Spark, so hopefully you guys are seeing that.
Yeah.
I'm just really impressed because by the sounds of things, okay, it had a shaky origin story. What projects doesn't always have some kind of initial problems?
Yeah, I mean, that's what happens when you base your thing off of Litecoin code base. Sorry, what we're talking about here.
But yeah, so it's actually really impressive because you've managed to do this on a shoestring budget, right? And this is available
baby shoestring budget. And it's like the little baby shoes, the teeny little laces, that kind of shoestring.
That's the interesting part, right? Because we received. I had a proposal through the Dash treasury first, and I think it was like 80 Dash or something like that. And at the time, I think it was like maybe $800. But I didn't even get that either. So like
that sucks.
The $800, and then I ended up getting nothing. and we tried to get some from the Pivx team, which I still owe them a point of sale. They don't have like all the things required ported over, so it won't happen until that happens. But yeah, so it's been like a very, very thin budget. This last Dash Boost proposal was the actual like first time I got any real payment for doing some of this stuff, which it helped a lot. You know, I was able to take a few extra days off of work and really hunker down and work on some features. And then also I spent some time working on a presentation, and I won the startup challenge here locally, and won $5,000 also towards Spark development, which I haven't received yet, but eventually, you know, it will go towards Spark development.
Yeah, what's that, like 50 Dash now? A little bit more?
Yeah, probably.
Ooh.
About.
Yeah, that's those Dash amounts are getting high for depressing reasons, but whatever.
Yeah.
You should be able to. Yeah, I mean, it's pretty interesting to see how it's kind of like your origin story. I mean, obviously there's some here and there crazy stuff in the background, but Spark, as far as it's called Spark's origin story seems to be kind of the anti-proposal. And I think that only good ways. Right. And this is what I mean by that. So many people just say, oh, I got a great idea. Oh, Dash has money. Then they just say, oh, we're going to do all this cool, awesome stuff. We're going to do this. Give me the big old bucket of money. And then they either get the money or they don't. If they get it, then they just kind of inevitably super underdeliver, and everyone's pissed off at them. I mean, I'm being really pessimistic in saying it like that.
No, but it does seem to be like a pattern almost. There's obviously there's exceptions, but
yeah. And instead, we got a volunteer project that made something small and really simple that just works. It's not like, it kind of sort of works. It just works right out the box. For whatever it does, it works out the box. I mean, and the only criticisms one could say is that in the beginning, it didn't do everything. But it did, whatever it did, it worked. It was useful right away in its bare bones stage, and it worked. And then it's like, and I mean, I don't know. Maybe I'm inflating myself a little bit too much and say this. It wouldn't be the first time, but I've basically had to bully you into asking for some kind of money to get this going.
It did, yeah.
Yeah, and so now usually people are, it's kind of like bizarro world here, because usually with proposals, people are like, can I just like not have you guys asking for money one of these months, and can you just surprise us with something that we can use? Just give us something, deliver something, stop asking for money.
Right.
And it's the opposite in this case. It's like, I just get happy the more I see you asking for money, because I know that you deliver on nothing. And so then with something, you can be able to do more. And it's one of those things, the Dash meritocracy type thing. I mean, Mark and I remember our first roles with Dash Force, let's say. I mean, Mark had a little storied history. He put his fingers in just about every pie imaginable. Take that for what you will. But we started just doing random online comments for tips back when we had a Slack tip bot. And that was like where we got started. We just, the troll patrol just started saying, no, Dash isn't a scam. You're a scam, and so is your mom, or whatever. And then it was a little bit better than that, I swear. Just getting random tips, and then worked up from there to, oh, well, you guys are doing such a good job, like as like tipped volunteers. Why don't you go part-time? Oh, why don't you go full-time now? Right. Why don't we do news site? Why don't we do merchant listing? Why don't we do media and PR? Why don't we do events? Why don't we do all this kind of awesome stuff? But it just starts from just that grinding from nothing. And then Justin started.
You could say it was a spark.
Yeah. I was waiting. I had a few ways of thinking to work that joke, and you beat me to it because you're a jerk. But anyway, and same thing with Justin. Started writing some articles, and then just like, hey, you want to do more? Hey, you want to do more? How about this? And it just expands from there. And so that's one reason I'm aggressively pushing whenever I see something that's a high value that comes from especially very little money. I try to push a lot of money in that direction, because I know like the relative scale of what you get for what you get out of it, versus what you put in is pretty high. Same thing with a couple weeks ago, we had Ben Ben from Delta Engine on for the My Dash wallet, talking about all the cool stuff he's done. I mean, look at how prominent that guy is in the ecosystem. He got, which by the way, now HD wallets are available on My Dash wallet.
Yeah, My Dash wallet is awesome.
Yeah, just amazing. Tipping, private send, chat on the blockchain, exchange. I think he has an exchange function in there too. And conducted the Dash stress tests and all this, and he's been paid about like $48 total, like a little bit more than that maybe, but he's been paid like nothing. And then you have like these giant projects promising, you know, once in a lifetime opportunities and things like that. That just like, okay, well, you know, what if we could convert that ROI percentage and just throw it at these people who are the highest performers? So, and that's one thing that, by finishing my ramble here and letting someone else talk, because, you know, apparently other people have opinions too. But what happens is the Dash ecosystem tends to be too passive and just kind of like, all right, we got 6,100 or so Dash, give us your best shot. And they're like, yeah, I'll pick this, I'll pick that, and not like actively like, yo, you need to work for us. Like, not active recruitment. And so that's what I do. Active recruitment. So
well, and that's like, you know, kind of like ties into the point that I was making the other day on the Discord server, which is like, you know, regardless of whether my proposals ever get approved or don't get approved, I will be here building. I will work on Spark. I don't care. I don't care if I ever get another dollar from Dash. That's not why I do what I'm doing. It certainly helps, you know, allows me to take some extra time off of work, put a little bit more into something that I love to do. But the truth of the matter is I love to do it, so I'm going to do it anyway. And, you know, I encourage people to keep that in mind when voting. If there's a budget crunch or something and I have a proposal in, don't worry about mine.
Don't listen to what this guy says.
I mean that though, like in a, you know, of course I would like it to be approved. I wouldn't put it in and waste the Dash on, you know, for no reason. But, but I mean, if it's ever like a real serious, like one of these guys has to fall out, I'm not worried. I'll be here.
I think that's going to be an interesting thing as the budgets crunch, is when people start to say, all right, well, who can afford to not, who's going to stick around if we can defund them, rather than just who is a producer and who is actually earning the value. There's always going to be a little bit of that, because you could be like, all right, well, we can't afford to feed everyone, or, you know, that sounds just depressing. We can't afford to pay everyone. So we're going to pay the people that we need to keep around, rather than the other people who can just come back as soon as their money is back, and not the people who just, oh, I'm gone forever.
Is Justin safe?
Well, I don't know. I mean,
let's save that conversation for another time.
Who writes most of the Dash Force news articles these days?
By the way, super good article for me the other day. That was great.
Thank you.
For the first time ever.
Appreciate that.
Justin is our rising rock star. Absolutely awesome.
That's why I tell myself at night before I go to bed.
You just have a ceiling mirror. You just like lie in bed like, you are a rock star. You're the man.
It really puts me in a good mood.
Don't give my secrets away.
I was going to say, like, it's actually a sign of a healthy project as well to have an active community development as well. So it's actually really good to have the likes of you, Benjamin, Delta Engine, actually within the community developing things as well. People talk about HODL all the time, but buildle is kind of is the new term being thrown around. I just want to get into the technicals a little bit now, if that's okay. So let's talk about Spark POS. So I noticed from the website, I've not actually used the POS system myself, but I see it's a web-based application. So if I download the Android or the iOS application, nothing's actually stored in the app, is it? It's all done through the web-based solution, correct?
So that's a good question. So actually there is storage in the Android app, just as there is on the web. So we have a server that we communicate with for rates and things like that, but all the address generation and sales, QR code generation, everything is all done locally. So even on the web version, it's done browser side, and then on the like Android app or desktop app, it's done client side as well. So all the logic for that is in the browser or in the app itself. So actually, even like, so it's designed obviously to where there is no private keys needed for this, because somebody the other day was a little bit confused, and they were like, well, how, why is this sending to, say, like a waiter's wallet, and then how do you know they're not going to steal the funds and send it to themselves or something? And I had to explain that this is not a wallet. It's, in fact, there is no sending capability whatsoever, and there are no private keys on the device, since the private keys are not needed to generate a sale. So because of that, people do have that concern with their extended public keys, the XPub keys. If somebody gets your XPub key, your funds are not necessarily in danger, but your privacy is. So important thing to remember, that even if you use the XPub key in Spark, it actually is never transmitted across any, like, to any server or anything like that. So that's all stored locally and encrypted.
Excellent.
Very nice. So I've seen some questions about side-by-side comparisons between Spark and AnyPay. Now, I don't know if you're the person you seem to be the Spark expert, you better be, but as far as the AnyPay, I don't know how much you've even tooled around. I've used both. I've only used AnyPay in a retail environment, and I've only tested Spark out on like my phone and things like that.
Sure.
Yeah, so I guess the biggest contrast is AnyPay is multi-coin and has a couple of extra stuff. Another thing with AnyPay is it has invoices right now. I don't know if are you working on invoices, or is that something
that is something I'm planning on. Yep. Invoicing will be something that comes to Spark eventually. Multi-coin, however, will not be. And here's an interesting, something I'm about to say, something that might a few people, but I think multi-coin is a good thing. I think what AnyPay, their strategy is really good. Having, like, you get a merchant who is interested in accepting Bitcoin because it's the big name, right? And then they find out that people want to spend Dash, and then that's the one that gets spent the most. And I think it's almost like a Trojan horse for Dash. And I actually even expressed that to one of the AnyPay guys as well. I told him I think it's the perfect Trojan horse for that. And I have no plans to compete in that aspect, because I think there needs to be both. There are some people that want one coin, not confusing. There are people that know that they want Dash, and that's fine. And then there are people that want multi-coin, and I think that there's room for both. I think AnyPay is a really cool project. I haven't seen any side-by-side comparisons personally, but yeah, no, I think that they have a great project as well.
One more difference on that is also I think they use address forwarding. So you receive something and then it forwards on to the final destination rather than just direct in, which allows a few extra things like, it has a few extra functionality things, but I have had some issues where, because I believe they use BlockCipher's address forwarding, and BlockCipher's had an issue and it was just stuck, and then they had to like manually make sure it re-forwarded.
Yeah.
So the thing is, and there's an interesting philosophical point, and it's like, this is something someone could debate forever. And, I could debate forever. And at some point we got to stop the podcast though. But I'm just saying, the old school way is like the Trojan horse thing. It's like, oh, it's like a Bitcoin world. We're living in a Bitcoin world. Yeah, anyway. So, and then you have to just say, hey, take Bitcoin, all these other coins. And, oh yeah, by the way, all our sales are in Dash pretty much. And it's like, oh, like to get it in that way. There's also something else that is, I have seen the market crash ugly, right? It's been pretty nasty. A lot of people are suffering from it. I mean, there's people like throwing their life savings in and stuff like that, and or just destitute or what. Like, I think if they kept their jobs, they could just wait until it rebounds. But then there's people like I really, it's easy to go, whatever, just hold on to it, wait until it goes back up. But people like us who are working in the Dash ecosystem are like, oh, how are we going to keep everyone paid? How is everything going to work out? And there is a certain amount of blame to building a lot of hype and speculation on projects that never really delivered. And I think that Bitcoin's one of the least to blame just because it's the foundation for everything. It's like everything's built off of it, basically. All the real world use was originally built off of it, but it is partially to blame because, the whole mass adoption thing, it just didn't work out. And then Bitcoin Cash was like, I would call it part of Bitcoin. I mean, controversial. Some people maybe, but it's like that faction of Bitcoin. And then now that's kind of going through a lot of stuff. I'm not calling it dead yet or whatever, but I'm just saying it's going through a lot of issues, and just I have seen this annoying thing where so Venezuela, especially, nothing, it just financial collapse, economic troubles, all this kind of stuff. And people just keep on saying, well, what if Bitcoin could be used there and all this kind of stuff? And then they just keep saying that. And then as Dash starts building up hundreds and hundreds of merchants, has conferences with thousands of people, you have thousands of merchants taking it. And then everyone just like ignores that kind of, whatever.
Because it's not their horse,
Yeah, they kind of ignore it, or it's not, even if it's not their horse, it's like people still have this like Bitcoin centralized kind of point of view of like, it has to be Bitcoin first.
Sure.
And then, so Dash is kicking ass in Venezuela, like seriously. The team over there is amazing. And then you get one large chain, it's one large supermarket chain or store chain that starts taking cryptocurrencies, including Dash, but including Bitcoin. And all of a sudden, oh look, Bitcoin's saving Venezuela. I'm just like, oh my goodness, no. And so I've had it's been the Dash miracle around here in New Hampshire recently. And people are still saying, oh, but it's Bitcoin. You can use Bitcoin here. And it just annoyed me so much to have like Bitcoin Cash people saying, oh, look, you can spend Bitcoin Cash everywhere. And it's like, what do you mean Dash funded proposals promoted Dash use all these other spots and got some, you have CNN come in filming me spending Dash. You have several documentary crews coming, all that. And then just because there's this one little option on the thing, you're just, you're pretending it's all about Bitcoin. Right. And that's really frustrating. And here's my thinking on that. That the Trojan horse method is good to a certain extent. The Trojan horse method is good. And we kind of see, for example, all the Bitcoin Cash ecosystem that has been now on the Bitcoin SV chain. And it's like, well, and you just you're not going to be multi-coin. You're just going to be like exclusive. And does that mean that all these awesome ideas get kind of lost on something that no one else uses? And I think that the crypto space can move together way better as a agnostic kind of thing.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I don't want the next bull run to be built on something that isn't going to deliver. I want it to be built on something like Dash that is going to deliver, that is going to work with millions of transactions. It's not going to have orphaned block problems and chain splits. It's not going to have all these, not going to fall apart in religious holy wars and stuff. It's not going to have all these issues. And so I think that my personal thing, this is one reason I'm really into Spark, because not for one thing, it just like works. And I kind of like something that I don't have to be like, oh, this is amazing and mostly works. I'd rather have something that's like, this is good and always works. Right. But the other thing is I want to push Spark first and something multi-coin, for example, second, and get as much as you can. Like people you bring that our hard work brings to the table of cryptocurrency, I want them to get on Dash first and Dash only. And it's only if they're like, well, I've heard about these other coins, or they're kind of on the fence, and you're like, okay, well, fine, you can take all of them with this package. Right. Kind of do that secondary. But as far as like the hard work we're doing, like, setting up, merchants in a country that has no crypto there, like all that's happening in Colombia, I would be very happy if all that stuff was like Dash exclusive. So you could say only Dash, unless someone's like, well, but I want to take the others. All right, we'll let you take the others too. That's fine. That's
what I meant saying earlier about, I think that there's room for both. And I think that their strategy obviously is a good one and it works. And I think my strategy can also work. I don't think that their goals necessarily have to be mine. We are direct competitors in the sense that we both created something that serves the same purpose. But at the same time, we also kind of diverge a little bit in a few different places. And while we do kind of have a lot of the same features, I think that's just important for competitiveness in general. But you know, I think there's room for both of us in the end, and I'm really happy with how far Spark has come. In not only on such a low budget, but in a short amount of time. You know, since I've been back and had that initial actual release. Obviously, it's taken a long time if you go back from when our first proposal was, but you know, extenuating circumstances and things happen. I'm just glad to be able to come back and contribute and not leave everybody hanging, because I know that feeling when some proposal just sounds so good and then it just under delivers or never happens. And I'm glad that I wasn't that guy this time. Or hopefully ever.
Yeah. Well, one thing that surprised me was I mentioned last week on the podcast that George Donnelly was on the Bitcoin Meister thing.
The Disrupt Meister.
Yeah.
I saw that.
I was going to do a Dash Meister impression then, like strong hands. Like anyway. So one thing
on target.
One thing he said in that podcast, which I wasn't actually privy to, where he was talking about how he's been onboarding merchants in Colombia, and obviously Adam, who's the host of the show, is a well-known Bitcoin maximalist, and he was saying, well, you know, why not onboard like Bitcoin merchants? And like George was saying, like generally, like no one knows what Bitcoin is here. So even when he engages with merchants, so I only say this because we'll just talk about the multi-coin aspect. So I'm just saying, no, Spark does actually have its use case, because if in Colombia, if you're trying to onboard merchants and the merchants don't even know what Bitcoin is, but then you're like, well, here's Dash, here's the solution and the advantages that it offers, then, so you're right. I think it does have distinct use cases. Anyway, yeah. I want to focus more on Spark. We've spoken about technicality. Now I want to talk about practicality. So if Justin has his favorite pizza joint, or anyone watching this, and he wants them to accept Dash, what is the step-by-step process of getting them to implement Dash so they can accept Dash?
Sure.
So implement Spark so they can accept Dash. Sorry.
Yeah. So it's pretty quick, actually. So like it depends on a few things. There's multiple ways that this can be set up depending on your situation. So like first thing you have to decide is what device are you going to use to accept payments? Is it the computer? Is it an Android phone? You know, and hopefully in the future I have dedicated hardware. It's something that I've been toying with for a little bit now. But basically it's as simple as you go to get-spark.com/app, or you go to
the dash in that is the symbol, not the word.
Yeah,
we have to be very careful in this world, right?
You're right. So it's I'll type it in the live chat. It's get-spark.com.
I'll do it because
it's on the title of the video.
Oh yeah, it is. But then it's got /app at the end, or there's a you can click web app in the upper corner, and as soon as you go to that page, if you have never been there before, it'll take you'll be in the settings screen. And so it's going to ask you to input a few things. One will be your address, so you can either pick that address from your Dash wallet or from a service like Uphold. That would be the merchant's choice, whether they want to convert to fiat or hold Dash. And so you put your address in, which now you can scan with the QR button. You set a password. You pick your local currency, your language, and whether you want to view prices in Dash or M Dash. And then you hit save. And as soon as you're done with that, you are ready to go.
So 5 minutes. If Justin was the shop owner and he wanted to integrate, how quickly do you think you get him set up? And is it ease of use? Is it simple? Is it practical?
Yeah, matter of fact, I may be able to, if I can clear this out of here, I might be able to just do it. I can share my screen on this, can't I?
Yeah, let's do a demo. Let's get it, because there'll be lots of people watching this, and sometimes they feel a bit intimidated. Of course, they want their local shops to accept it, but if they're not familiar with the process of setting them up, I think this will actually help people, give them the confidence to do that. So yeah, if you could share your screen and go through the process, I think that'd be really helpful.
No problem. Let me just got to clear out my old data. So
demo.
Okay, so
demo. Come on. So what kind of shop are you running, Justin? It's going to be a cannabis shop, isn't it? Be honest. Who am I kidding?
It's pizza.
Yeah.
Okay. How do I share my screen is the question. Oh, right here. Is this it?
Right, there should be.
Is that working?
Okay, yeah, and
Yeah, just make sure you're doing it. Just make sure you don't click on any spank chain links or whatever while you're there.
Sure.
This is a family show. Whatever
You
that
guys can
means.
see how many tabs I have open. This is my life right now. We're testing the
Brenna
API.
Sparks? No, just kidding.
Yeah. So
is that the inspiration behind the name of the point of sale system?
Easy access.
It's actually Spank. If you look, there's a piece of the N missing right here.
Yeah. Okay.
But,
so many in jokes that I'm sure our poor alienated viewers will have to then ask us in the after party, which happens after we're done here in the Dash Talk Discord. I'll get more into that in the end, but it's a good time, so look forward to it.
All right. So
be selling.
if you're the first time here, this is what it's going to look like. So you show up, it says Dash address, password, language, currency, and Dash format. So what we do is basically I'm just going to scan the QR from my Dash wallet. So I can hit this scan button here and hello. So then it picks up the address. Then I'm going to create a password. I don't know what that password was. Hold on. Okay. So then you can pick a language. We have 12 languages, I believe.
Do you have Esperanto or any plans to include it?
Yeah. If somebody wants to translate it for me, I totally will.
I hope for the sake of the human race that no one does.
We have 167 currencies that we support now. But I'm going to stick with the United States dollar. And I like Dash over M Dash personally. So I hit save and I'm ready to go. If I want to get back in and change those settings later, I click up here in the menu and I type in the password. And I'm able to change these settings. But other than that, this is all set up and ready to go. And what I would do is I would just say like 50 cents and I hit charge. And then at that point, I can, let's see, do I have any money in my Dash wallet? I don't. But
I'll spend it. I'll pay you. Hold on.
Let's do it live.
Okay, yeah. Live, let's do it.
So I bet someone's going to beat you.
I can tip you. This will count towards your salary, so you have to refund me this out of the Dash Boost proposal.
Fair enough. If you want to do a Dash text, you can also do, or coin text.
Ooh, I did instant send. It showed up right away. You can.
Yep, and you can see right here the green lock means it was sent instant send.
Do you want to do a different one, and I'll just crap send it or whatever you call the other version?
Sure, if you want to. Another 50 cents there.
Oh, he's balling today.
Well, I'm guessing does
the invoice request instant send?
It does automatically, but you can uncheck it, I believe.
Yeah.
But instant send is going to be the default soon, right? So
so most of these things will be just confirmed right away. All right, sending. So it's unlocked. I've been a naughty boy and I use Bitcoin Cash Spend or whatever. Just regular zero conf. Shame.
So that's as easy as it is, and you're all set up. Obviously, that took me just a few minutes. These are the settings that you have to fill out. You don't have to sign up with me or anything. Even your password is stored locally, and it's all hashed and salted and everything.
Okay, Spencer, question for you. So Justin's the shop owner. So first off, we would have to set him up with a Dash wallet address. So I'm guessing it'll most likely be a mobile Dash wallet, Android wallet, or the iOS Dash wallet. Get that address, then go to there. Now, in terms of additional functionality, you mentioned before about being able to keep on hold some of the Dash. So like if they wanted to, when it comes to percentages, like if they want to keep hold of like 20% of it and then sell 80% and switch that up, how's all that work?
Okay, so we actually don't do percentages at this point in time. So it's set up to where you can keep
uninstall
Dash.
Spark, everyone. You've been duped.
Yeah.
Just kidding.
You either keep Dash, like using something like the Dash wallet, or when you go to if you register on uphold.com, you use the USD card and you hit add funds with Dash, and then it gives you an address. And if you put that address in place of your Dash wallet address, it will actually automatically convert any funds received to United States dollars.
Yeah, and so here's the cool thing, because now in the Android wallet, as I'm sure we're all aware by now.
I might not be aware.
Okay. Uphold is directly in the Android wallet. You were aware of that at least, right?
Yeah, I was.
So that means if you're a shop owner, every shop, like let's take first world to better parts of the third world, wherever the shop owner probably has a smartphone. You download the Dash wallet. Oh, there's your Dash wallet. And then you just say, if they just want to keep Dash, they can just go beep, scan from their tablet or whatever. All right, that's the Dash, the XPub key, and then all the money goes straight to their app, and then they can set up Uphold and they can switch it to their, if they want to cash out some, or if they're just like, look, I want to go straight into that. You can just set up Uphold through the Dash wallet, so they don't have to remember it's Uphold, it's Dash, it's like whatever, and then you just scan right there. It just like, it's the simplest setup in the world. It's just so easy.
Yeah, it's pretty quick.
No accounts or anything. That's another thing. I mean, AnyPay has a little bit more functionality to it in that like you can have multiple locations from a single account in like a dashboard and all that kind of stuff in the back end. So that's an extra if you want to do that kind of stuff. But if you don't need that, then Spark is much easier to set up because you just download an app or use the web app and just plug it right in.
And they do get a lot more functionality being set up that way. I mean, they have, that's how it's pretty easy for them to do invoices and things that way, like basic invoicing history and stuff like that. For me, it's much more of a challenge because I'm intentionally building this with not having this back end or having to sign up for accounts or anything like that. I'm building it this way on purpose, or attempting to, because that way, like, for example, if I disappeared, this app would I hope not. But this app would continue running. Obviously, you might have to replace the rates API at this point because we had to do something special there. But it's one line of code you'd have to change, over who knows what everything else you would have to change if there was an entire backend about it. Why can't I link my Uphold account to my Dash wallet? This is not working.
It's not working? No. Should be able to just log in or something.
Yeah. That's what I'm doing.
So Justin, as a merchant, do you feel confident with that, or do you have any questions?
Sounds super easy to me. I did have a question though, not as a merchant, as Justin, but as the rates feature, because I remember hearing about that in the Discord, and I was a little.
The rates API.
Yeah, could you explain how you fix that?
Yeah. So what we did was,
and then what you did.
Yeah, the problem was basically I was getting this with Spark. My rates were not exactly matching the Android wallet. It would, I think in some cases, most of the time it was around 2 to 3% off, but in some cases it was as high as like 10% difference. And so that was one of the things that George was like really adamant about. He wanted those rates to be exact. And I definitely understand, because when people don't understand, whatever, they feel like they're being ripped off. And so that was important to me. So I talked with the Android Dash Wallet team, and we tried to come up with a solution. In the meantime, I ended up just looking at their source code, implementing the same rates that they had, just so that we matched. But then we found out that even though I matched the Android wallet and the Dash wallet, the iOS wallet doesn't match. So either we both change, or they have to change, or something's got to change somewhere. And then I kind of realized this was a problem across the whole ecosystem. Everybody gets their rates from different places. And so what we ended up doing was I wrote an API that basically gets the rates in whatever way we all agree on. And then every app in the ecosystem can use this API or run their own instance or however, because it is open source. And so even if they run their own instance, they're still getting rates the same way because the server will be calculating them the same way. And so basically now we have the iOS and Android wallet both on board. We're on board. I've talked to ElectroPay.
Yep.
ElectroPay.
ElectroPay is what happens when you buy an election.
yeah, exactly. No, and I briefly spoken with AnyPay as well. I'd like to get everybody on board. And this is not a selfish reason for me. It's just that I want everybody to be.
Well, how do people get involved? Do they have to contact you directly? Is there like a website with this stuff, with the rates, or I mean, like if
so right now, basically the I don't want to give out the.
If I want to use your API to display Dash in US dollars, euros, yen on the website, and I want to get rates from you, how would I go about that? If someone says, "Oh, Kodaxx is your man," do I have to go and contact you directly, or?
Yeah, if you wanted to get on, you could contact me. I will have it set up in the future where somebody could sign up and get an API key. Right now, it's all manual, so I will have to give you one. But
yeah, that's cool. That's not a bad idea for the website as well. I mean, I think we are using the CoinMarketCap widget at the moment. But I mean, we could. Yeah. But there is potential there with the rates to do something pretty cool. We'll probably do some charts and stuff off that as well. So
yeah, we totally could. And I think like everybody was getting their rates in such a different way. Like I think Dash Wallet originally was just getting the last 200 trades from Poloniex, averaging them together. And then that was their Dash to BTC rate. And then they would get a BTC to fiat rate and then just convert the two, which sort of works. But then you have like if something happens on Poloniex, either A, their API goes down, or B, somebody fat fingers a button, and then the rates are messed up for a little bit. And so what we ended up doing was taking an average from Binance, Kraken, Bitfinex, Poloniex, averaging all those together, or first excluding any outliers, then averaging all those together, and then converting the same way that they were before. But so the price should be much more accurate now in general. And then of course, if everybody's using the same price, it's even better. Like I said, it's turning into a huge project all by itself. But Jeff has been helping me. Jeff, you guys know from Nexus, has been helping me a lot to make sure that it can handle the amount of requests that it needs to be able to handle. And so far, we are sitting somewhere in the neighborhood of 1,700-ish per second, which is by far plenty at the moment.
So have you actually onboarded any merchants yourself with Spark, and what problems have you encountered, or ideas? Because I'm thinking about like waiters and waitresses, because in America, obviously you got to do tips and stuff. And obviously before, you either got to get them to say, okay, I'll pay in Dash on this, but like, can you install a wallet on your phone or this sort of stuff so I can send you a tip? Right. I mean, like, I don't know. Is that something you contemplated? Like what do you...
Definitely. So the tipping functions are coming, and I kind of have in my mind an idea how it will work already. And like typically how credit card sales work is, let's say I work at a restaurant, which I actually do. I work at a bar. But so like we run a credit card, and the customer tips on the card, and then the business, the restaurant, gets all of that money. Let's say the total was $10. They tipped me $5, so they pay a total of $15 with their credit card. The restaurant gets all $15. Now later they go through their payment stuff, and they say, okay, we owe Spencer this much in tips, and then they put that on my paycheck along with my wages. And so if you're using Dash in conjunction with a traditional point of sale system, if you're using Spark in conjunction with a traditional point of sale system like Square or something like that, it would be very easy to track that, okay, the sale was this much and they tipped this much, so this much in tips is owed out. So we're generally built in a way to just be like a drop-in replacement for a credit card machine. Now, nowadays, people get confused by that because like systems like Square have credit card processing built in. So everybody thinks that that Spark needs to be like built into some type of point of sale. But actually, all the way from the 80s all the way until now, besides special implementations like Square, there actually is a protocol for processing payments, and it's called the external terminal protocol. And that's where you track a sale on your point of sale system, you process the payment on an external terminal, whether it be a credit card terminal or Spark or AnyPay or whatever else, and then you bring it back to the point of sale and say, yes, I charged this amount, and it keeps track of everything for you, which is exactly how Spark is intended to be used.
Well, speaking of cryptocurrency mascots, we've got Ken Bozak live in the chat, and he's
snap.
always on a mission to onboard things. So, have you actually considered people like Ken that goes around and tries to onboard people to cryptocurrency? If he went round to get people to use the Spark merchants to use the Spark POS solution, have you thought about some kind of incentive program? Or
yeah, that's something that another thing that George has mentioned to me. And it's something that AnyPay is doing right now, I believe, and something that I'm trying to figure out the best way to approach. But I would love more than nothing more than to see people that promote Spark for them to get paid in some fashion. Definitely.
Yeah. So speaking of the pay thing, there were some questions about how is this going to be sustainable? You're going to start taking fees, or you're going to start making a business out of, like, what's the long-term profit model for this, or what have you thought of so far?
I haven't thought too much about it, just because especially in places like Venezuela and Colombia, I don't feel that taking a fee from a sale is to me, it feels like taking money out of the pocket of people who need it most. If Walmart were using it, it may be a different story, but when mom and pop stores in Venezuela are using this, it doesn't make sense to me to try and take some of their money too. But some things I have thought about, because obviously there needs to be some type of plan for long-term sustainability. I have thought of, maybe an ad-supported version and a premium version, or, it's possible maybe a very, very small transaction fee, 1 penny per transaction or something. I haven't really thought too much about it, because I'm not in that point of need right now. My whole goal is to just keep planning for scalability, removing weak points, and adding features, and getting users at the point in time that I feel like, we have a lot of users, and maybe there are some higher operating costs and maintenance costs and things like that. I'll probably consider some type of strategy, but at this point I have no plans really.
Now, what about evolution? Have you thought about integrating into that when it comes around?
Yes, a ton. It's something that I'm really excited about, actually, because I think that invoicing and things like that are something that I really want to integrate, but I don't want to have to maintain this database and have people sign up and stuff like that. So I feel like evolution presents an opportunity to be able to do that, to have users that are signed up without signing up, right? Because as long as they're signed up on evolution, they're signed up to all these DApps or DApps across the ecosystem, right? So I think I'm going to attempt to use that to my benefit.
Well, the DashPay usernames will be great as well, because then you can set up the merchant there and then with their username, and then the whole ease of use aspect comes in, and it's just around the corner. It's not that far away.
That's right. Yes. DIP 5, right?
Away. Wait, yeah.
Yes, 0.13, and yes, that should hopefully be soon. I imagine after the next super block, which isn't that far away now. So, which I guess we should probably remind everyone to go and vote, because there's only 7 days left to vote.
5 or something, right?
Wow.
It's not that many right now. Yes, I would remind people of something else that's a little more self-serving to the actual podcast at the moment. Dash Boost. In case you didn't know, Dash Boost is a micro treasury system that's meant to mimic the Dash treasury system to basically fund small projects. So you only need a 1 Dash fee to submit a proposal rather than 5 Dash fee. The funds actually, rather than being burned, the proposal fees go to the administrator to help keep running this stuff. But more importantly, it's just like an extra pocket of money that projects can go to get funded if they don't want to overwhelm the masternodes with a bunch of little asks, or if it's just like they're asking for 10 Dash and they have to put a 5 Dash proposal and fee in, and it's like 15 Dash. It just doesn't make sense. And so there's a bunch of interesting projects that show up on Dash Boost. For the most part, it was kind of the feeder that just took all the minor kind of meetup based type proposals off. But now there's been some interesting stuff happening. I mean, obviously Spark, I was like, you got to get on Dash Boost. And so, all right. And then
Dash Boost has helped a lot, actually. I appreciate you turning me onto that.
And like, I think that Spark definitely deserves the scope of a full proposal, but I also think that would have been a harder sell. Just be like, oh, okay, don't we already have another proposal somewhere for something? Just like Masters, like I gotta look at another thing. And it's like sometimes you just need to, have some smaller tension. And I intend to start abusing Dash Boost a little bit. So stay tuned for that. But the big thing about Dash Boost is if you have Dash, you can vote. All right. You can create an account, probably not under a recognizable username, just in case it depends on how much you care about your privacy. Register your Dash addresses, which can be a million addresses. It could be if you're a masternode operator, if you have you can use that too at the moment. So jump in there. If you just want input on extra projects like this, go in there and, throw some whale votes at the Sparks way and make sure it gets funded.
Even if you guys feel like voting against me, either way, I still encourage you to vote. But so to reiterate, I do have a proposal on Dash Boost, which is just at dashboost.org. So go there, look for the Spark Payments Development 2 proposal, and vote on it whichever way you feel. Yes, no, or abstain. Hopefully, yes. I'm keeping my fingers crossed on that. But
yeah, if you don't, you got to explain why you hate America.
I would prefer if you voted no that you left a comment as to why. But that's obviously your choice.
And even more, I'd prefer that you not do something dumb like vote no. Or you have like an actual good reason, not just be like,
right.
Well,
if you have a great reason, I'm okay with that. The other thing is like even if you're a huge fan of AnyPay, which I am, I think it's great. Just remember that competition does great things for the ecosystem. So having them around pushes me to be better, and having me around pushes them to be better. So even if you are a fan of them, realize there's a benefit for voting for me.
Unless it's a news website, then otherwise Justin's going to have big problems with you. I just want to say that.
Yeah, he's gonna plant something and drop an anonymous tip and get you shut down. But that's for sure with competition, because obviously AnyPay and Spark are two different things, and there are a bunch of cases where I'd want to get people on AnyPay, and then there's a bunch of cases where I want to get people on Spark. And I'm not going to tease too much because I actually don't know all the information surrounding this, but there might be a third contender throwing his hat in the ring soon.
I think we've all heard about that, right?
Built-in fiat conversion, which neither AnyPay nor Spark has by design. So
is this all 36 or no?
No, other stuff. Anyway, it's
excited.
Something else. It's another wild card. All 36 is for the weed, man. Which, by the way, all 36, spell it out. Or just you can do the numbers. Alt36.com.
They're accepting customers now, right, or something?
You can register as a customer, as a dispensary, as a partner now. Like they've kind of increased their. And then they have a cool, especially for dispensaries, they have a cool slider right now of if you're a cannabis business, how much are you going to save based on your daily transaction volume? How much are you actually going to save by starting taking Dash instead? And it's some pretty cool stuff. So get on board with all 36 now, because again, rumor has it they're taking transactions now. I have not verified this myself, but definitely there's a lot of really cool projects moving forward with the space, and I know they're all a little bit I'm gonna have to ask for my old Mickey D's job back again because the markets are rough, or I'm gonna have to go, whatever hole we crawled out of when we got involved into crypto, you might have to go back to for a little while. Remember that speculation is based on betting that something will become useful someday. Mm-hmm. The best thing to do is to build, if you're trying to have a speculative market, which, it helps to speculate on more. So for example, when you vote for the Spark Dash Boost proposal, you are speculating on its future use in the Dash ecosystem. But you're not speculating based on, oh, he said a bunch of nice stuff. You're speculating on a working product right now that was a working product in a much rougher form not too long ago and has been continually delivered for not very much money. It's a very easy thing to speculate on. So the more we build stuff like this up, the better, because it creates something of actual value for people to then invest in. It's not so much of just a speculation. Oh, I'll see what happens. You're like, well, this is doing great. I'm going to invest in its future. I'm going to invest in cryptocurrency and Dash's future. The other thing to think about is if you can get your creative entrepreneurial juices going, think about how Dash works. Think about what the fees are like. Think about what transaction speeds like. Think about all potential use cases. And think about where that can actually make money in the real world. Don't see Dash as a thing like, oh, crypto's great. It's a loyalty thing. I got to make crypto use. Think about what is this actually useful for? How can this save money somewhere? How can this enable a thing that otherwise wouldn't be possible? And if you can save money, you can charge a little bit to save people money and split the difference, i.e. start a business.
You guys want to hear a story real quick? This is totally first world problems, but this happened to me the other day, and I just thought to myself, this would never happen in crypto. Okay, so we bought a house recently, right? And I had some closing costs I needed to cover, so I had to give the bank some money, and they were like, "Oh, where is this coming from?" And it was gains from crypto, so I had to like explain that first of all. And they were like, no, we can't do that because you can't like prove where it came from. I'm like, oh, I definitely can. And I started showing her like the blockchain. Nah, she was not having it. So anyway, what I ended up doing was my older brother lent me the money, and then I just paid him over Coinbase or whatever. And I told him, I didn't pay him over Coinbase. Sorry. I said, you pay me and then I'll cash it out and pay you back after we get the house. So that's what we did. And then when I went to pay him back, I cashed it out through Coinbase. He has a Wells Fargo bank, and we have a branch here. He lives in a different state. So I was just going to deposit it into his bank account. Like you think would be like a totally normal, easy thing to do. Not easy. I go to Wells Fargo. I try and give her the cash. She says, oh, you can't deposit cash into other people's bank accounts. I go,
well, I mean, yes, you can, because of Wall of Coins is literally how it does its thing.
Yeah,
I've liquidated so much Bitcoin back in the day through that.
Yeah, well, it's a new policy. I used to work at Wells Fargo, and that wasn't a thing when I worked there. But she said, no, you can't deposit cash. So I said, okay, so how do you propose that I do this? And she said, you could deposit either a check or a money order. And my bank is an internet bank, and so I don't have checks. And so I said, okay, well, I will buy a money order then. And she says, well, we don't sell money orders. Okay, so where do I go get a money order? She said, you can go to the post office. So I drive about 12 blocks to the post office. I get up to the counter. I said, all right, I need a money order for $5,136. She says, well, there's a limit of $1,000 on money orders. I said, okay, I'll take 6 of them. So I have to fill out paperwork because she says, that's too much money. You're buying too many money orders. And I said, look, I used to work at a bank. I understand you have to fill out paperwork, but that's over $10,000. This is only $5,000. She said, no, if with money orders, it's $3,000. Okay, so I had to fill out all this paperwork, 6 different money orders. I go back to the bank. I go to deposit the 6 money orders. She says, you can't deposit 6 money orders at once. I said, oh my God, are you serious? So I had to deposit 1 money order, get back in line, deposit another money order, get back in line, deposit another. I do this. So
you got your cardio in at the same time.
Wow.
Yeah. I did this 6 times, and I just thought to myself, this would never happen in crypto.
Hey, Justin, can you get me a QR code for a Dash wallet real quick? This is like, I know this is like preaching to the choir type thing, but sometimes you need to, I mean, there's a reason why in churches you go there and you mull over the same stuff. Sometimes you need to remind yourself of like why this is important, because in that whole process of like, can I just pay my brother money? And by the way, that comes from, he decided to be the loan shark. Otherwise, I mean, look at this. So, let me switch to Justin's screen. You can pay him too if you want. I mean,
Who wants to pay me?
yeah. So he just says, "Oh, like I want to send this guy some money."
I thought Justin was a bit eager.
Yeah.
Pick me.
Oh,
Right
he's
here.
wiggling it too much. He's wiggling it too much.
I've got shaky hands.
Jeez.
He's thinking about the dash.
You missed your toke or something or what?
I can't read. It's blurry.
Oh, you moved. Oh, I got it.
Oh,
Okay, that was painful.
I was trying. I still didn't get it.
I hear it.
It's okay. Someone can freeze frame it.
But I think
and bam, there you go. You got some money.
Yep.
It just
got
that's
it.
as easy as it is. It just anyone in the world. What if it was $1 million? I don't know why I'd have $1 million worth of stuff on my little crappy phone with a little anime sticker thingy. Oh, there he goes. Just oh, we already gained a cent since I sent it. So
Magic
how easy
internet
is
money.
that to just?
Yeah, that's what I mean. It's just so important to remember. Like even in the first world, I understand that like in places like Venezuela, this is like really, really important for them. But even us here in America, still we have advantages as well.
It's terrible. It's absolutely terrible. And as a business owner, think about all the like. It's so easy because we're all crypto people. We all send and receive. We all accept it, and we all can know where to spend it, or cash out, or be hodl. Think about everyone else think about expanding that to the average person. And what does the average person have a problem with if they wouldn't want to just do this?
Right.
And then you make a business around that. Already just having Uphold in the wallet is a really great start. There are some things where, for example, you could just say, like, I don't know what money transmitter laws or whatever, but for example, if you could get people in you can cash out or this, or we're going to provide loan services and stuff like that. Just any kind of financial stuff that allows people to just do this a lot easier. Like ATMs, again, shout out to Vault Logic for their awesome ATM / you can pay your bills from anything kind of thing. And here's a secret, and I'm going to go into more detail once I've tried this a little bit more. But also shout out to Rodrigo Ambrisi for cueing me into this. Walmart is basically a bank for the unbanked. It's pretty incredible. Yeah. You can get money orders at Walmart. You can pay your child support with Walmart. You can do all kinds of stuff through all kinds of financial services.
I want Dash to have a partnership with Walmart so I could just go.
Well, it already does.
Really?
Bit refill. You can get Walmart credit. You can get Walmart gift cards for 10% off, and then you can load it into your Walmart Pay account. And you can go not only shop at Walmart, but you can pay bills and do transfers, stuff like that. I mean, I'm sure there's I have to actually test this out before I'm really confident in recommending that whole thing. But I do know that you can use gift card credit to load your Walmart Pay account, which you can pay at Walmart. And according to some people who've told me, you can use that to pay bills then. So just saying, that's like one of those kinds of things. If you could, like, for example, what if you had, I know that like bill pay, and 2% cash back if you do on rewards.com. Woo. So I know that if you pay, I know there's a bunch of bill pay services that are a little bit, they're not that good in the US because the US banking system is atrocious. But what happens if you had some kind of a financial services bill pay type service that would allow you to, since I'm guessing the whole pay your bills with crypto kind of thing, what if you could just have like say Kodaxx Pay, call it that, call it Kodaxx Pay as like a bill pay type service, like a financial service for the unbanked kind of thing. And one of the options, but you have to load your account balance, and then you pay your bills with that. And it's a 2-step, and then just like a Walmart Pay, right? So one of the ways you could do that might be through cryptocurrency. If you just have an easy way, if you set up a business like that, again, someone who's smarter than me and has more time on their hands and more investment capital, look into it. Because if you have some kind of you can pay your bills with crypto kind of a service, then there you go. You can just start doing some really cool stuff.
Yeah, definitely agree. I'm still having trouble signing my wallet up to this. Like I'm trying to authorize this device and it just won't authorize.
Are you using the that like Authy app. It's like red. Yeah, I was like using that initially, and I was having some trouble. It made me go through it like 3 times, but then it eventually worked.
Huh. I've been through it at least 4 times. The Authy thing works, but then it says that I'm signing into an Uphold account from a new device or location. Please click the confirmation link, which I've done several times now. But I don't know. I'll figure it out when I'm not on the air, I guess.
Right. Well, we've gone through the whole podcast and we haven't actually spoke about the price or the fact that it's Black Friday. But, the fact that
emphasis on the how about Red Friday?
Well, that being said, Joel did a really good tweet today to remind people about.
I did a lot of really good tweets today, actually,
about rewards.com. And although I just flashed the website just there, if you're buying stuff today or for the Christmas period, I can understand if you don't want to spend your Dash right now. I understand that. But if you're actually buying gifts for the Christmas period or Black Friday today or for Cyber Monday, just remember you're going to be...
Or for Analog Tuesday.
Yeah. Or if you're spending your dinosaur fiat paper money, you can still use rewards.com. Save money, but on that money you save, you get Dash back. So you can actually earn Dash by purchasing stuff that you're going to be purchasing anyway and save money as well. So definitely check out rewards.com if you haven't. Save money and earn some Dash as well.
Yes, and like I've been traveling a whole bunch this year, and I already got like $100 in rewards.com points. That's like over a Dash. So I'm just saying, like if you want, that's things everyone's like, oh, you gotta buy it. It's the bottom. BTFD, buy the dip. It's the bottom. You gotta buy it. And the problem is like buying in, and this always annoyed me when people transition to it where they like start putting signs everywhere, buy Bitcoin or buy Bitcoin, just buy Bitcoin. It's like that's a little scammy, but most importantly, you have to put yourself in a bad position to buy something like this, right? If you have savings, you have less savings because you put it into a speculative asset. Now, or if you have like almost no savings and you just put it all in, then you could really be in a tough spot. So, I mean, obviously, if you just have some to gamble away, then fine. We're going to put it in a slot machine anyway, or buy Frappuccinos or whatever people do with their money these days. But if you just were already going to buy stuff, do it through rewards.com and get Dash for nothing, right? You get Dash that you don't have to spend money for the Dash. Just funnel your economic activity through this one spot and you just get free Dash on the side. And you can be like, hey, this is all risk-free. Like I didn't have to, put my hard-earned money on this thing and just pray that it's going to go up and something. You're like, no, make it something that, how can you say no to free Dash? I'm just saying, like,
7,000 merchants as well. So, if you think of the product, one of their merchants on there is probably selling it. That's all I'm going to say. Amazon's on there, Walmart's on there.
Overstock.
It's not just everything's pretty much on there. It's actually a challenge to find something that you can't buy through rewards.com. And also as well, look, I understand we have to be real. Obviously, I'm kind of known as a Dash cheerleader, but I want to be realistic. I know it's very, very painful right now, but just listening to Spencer's story that he was just saying that he had with the bank, just think about what's happening with Alt 36. If Justin was a cannabis dispensary and he's getting that cash,
probably is.
Look at the problems that he's got. He's having problems with the banks right now. So that's real use case. So Dash really does solve these solutions. So just remember to, not just focus on the hodl, but the buildle as well. And that's why it's so great to have people like Spencer in the community that are actually developers and actually helping grow the Dash ecosystem as well. On that point, I think it'd probably be good to wrap up. So, Joel, do you want to take us out?
Yeah. So, if you're not in the Dash Talk Discord, you're missing out on a good time. StayDashy.com if you want to stay dashy. That takes you right there. We do this thing called the After Party, which is kind of like this, but much more informal. Not just 4 of us, 10 of us at a time. It can last into the wee hours of the morning, depending on how much Mark hates his social life outside of his home. So, here's what you want to do. Oh, I see. I want in. You go to staydashy.com and it takes you to the Dash Talk Discord. You just start asking, hey, where's the after party at? Where's the after party? Is there after party? You just start being annoying about it, in the especially the general channel. Ping me or Mark or Justin, especially ping Justin 3 days later and just see what he does. And whatever it is, just try to get into the after party. And yeah, we'll get you in. It'll be a good time. You get to 1 on 10 time or whatever. That sounds a little wrong. Whatever.
There's always an after party in my head.
Yeah, it's always an after party. And this has happened where I remember one particular time, the whole weekend long, people kept on getting on the after party. The same people just dialed back in and kept the party going for like a whole week. And it's pretty fun. So get in on that.
Excellent. So, all right, guys, I think it's Dashy time. So that was episode 79 of the Dash Force 3 Amigos podcast. If you've enjoyed this, please like, share, and subscribe. Thank you, Kodaxx, for coming on. Hope this won't be the last time, but hope you've enjoyed it.
Thank you for having me, for real. I said the other day that I'm gonna put in a Dash Boost proposal to turn this into the 4 Amigos, and I meant it.
Yeah.
Well, what is it? The 4 of us right here.
Well, network consensus. So hey, if people vote for it, we'll do it. So excellent. So I know it's Black Friday. Wherever you are, have a fantastic weekend. Stay positive, stay humble, and stay dashy. See you later, everyone.
Stay odd one out. I'm sorry.
Stay odd one out. Yeah. I should say like stay. I was gonna say stay dashy, Justin. Stay dashy, Mark. Stay dashy, Joel. But then I felt bad for Kodaxx.
Mark, you know you're still on, right?
We'll hook you up, dude. We'll message Joshua. He'll hook you up.
Yeah. All right, guys. Well, have a great weekend, and take care.